Hey everybody, welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got a Neca action figure review for you. This time around we're going to be taking a look at the Night Cougar Alien. So this is one of the newer additions to Neca's Kenner Tribute line. It was inspired by Kenner's the expanded universe of Kenner toys from the early 90s. So this was originally a Kenner toy, 20 plus years ago, and then this is Neca's redo of it with all the modern articulation and details and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and jump into that packaging, which the packaging itself is an homage to that original Kenner packaging as well. And you can see that in the artwork and the logos and so on. So right up the top, you have 17 plus Night Cougar Alien with magnetic kamikaze parasite. And then there's a picture of the figure itself. Open this up. You have a photo of the alien right there. On the inside, right here is your display window for the figure. On the side, there's that Kenner callback, if you will, just that artwork right there. Aliens, Night Cougar Alien, and then the Neca logo in that Kenner style. On the back, you have all of these products that you must buy. These are the accompanying figures, and I'll just leave that here for a second so you can pause it and read that if you choose to do so. And then you have all these other figures to add to your collection. Neca Real Toys, 20th Century Fox down there. Aliens on this side, Night Cougar Alien. Neca up top, you have Aliens. And then down low, you have basically the Sad Baby and then the sculpting team. And as Sid would say, Randy's done it again. All right, so that is it for the packaging. Let's go ahead and see everything that came inside that box. Behold, here is everything that came inside that box. And yeah, it's not much, but I mean, it's a Neca Alien figure, so it's not like they come with a lot of accessories typically anyway, if any. But this time around, we do have a special treat because he did come with one really cool accessory, and it's this right here. This is his magnetic kamikaze parasite or drone or whatever you want to call this thing, and this rests on his back. And yeah, it's really cool. Not entirely sure everything that you could do as far as imaginary play with it, but it's got really good detail to it, and it's kind of translucent, and you can see there in the tail, and this bad boy just sticks right on his back. So really cool. This is a cool little gimmick. I do enjoy it. So that is it as far as the accessories go. So what we can do is just jump right in and start looking at the details and articulation on the Night Cougar and get a good look at this guy. All right, here he is, or her, or gender neutral. I don't know. Do these things even have a gender? I don't think they do. They're just they're xenomorphs. They work for the queen. So here it is, the xenomorph we've all been waiting for. This is the Night Cougar Alien. So let's bring this figure on in and take a look at all the details. And I gotta say, I'm gonna call it a guy. I know it's just habit. This guy looks cool. So let's bring him in and take a look at that big old head. And you can see, hopefully it's coming through on the camera, there is some translucence here on that upper skull, so you can see through that and see some of the detail going on underneath. Right there in the face. And of course you have those beautiful teeth, and you open that up and then you do have the little punchy mouth right there. And then I really enjoy the red accents on this figure. It looks really cool. Right here, just all that. It gives it such a visceral, organic look. Just detail abounds everywhere on this figure. All right, let's push that back in. Talk about you later. And moving on down, we'll take a look at that chest. So you do have your xenomorph chest right there. Lots going on. And then coming down here to the crotch and the legs. Great sculpted in detail everywhere you look. And then these red paint apps just really set it off. And this almost pearlescent kind of a black or dark gunmetal gray that they use on this figure. Gosh, it looks so good. And I really hope it's coming through on the camera how good it looks. It does have little silver toes. All right, Let's move that arm out of the way. Look at the legs from this angle, and you've got those, I'm going to call them dew claws right there. And some nice sculpted detail on the backs of the legs. Coming on up. This thing definitely looks deadly. No doubt about it. And all this detail here in the head and the neck. And a cool feature is back here, when you bring that neck down, you even have a couple of those, whatever you want to call them, vertebrae, whatever. And then looking at him on the back too, back of the head, you have this detail. And one of the things that strikes me on this figure is there's no breathing tubes. So anybody out there who has a lot of xenomorph physiology knowledge, maybe chime in the comments. Let us know what's going on there as far as the breathing tubes or the lack thereof. And you've got all this detail on the back. And we already took a look at those legs. And then you have this nice long tail, and then on the end of this tail, it's almost like a, I don't know, it's a, it almost looks kind of like its own little face hugger without the legs. Looks like it would just wrap around and smack right onto somebody's face, but it has a very deadly scorpion style. What do you want to call it? Stinger. I'm gonna go with stinger. If that's wrong, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, this thing looks cool. Comparatively speaking, I mean, of course, all the aliens from Neca look great. Stay. All the aliens from Neca look great, but this one is, it just sets it off for me. Just that color scheme looks really cool. Everything going on with it. So let's go ahead and talk about articulation real quick. It is typical articulation for Neca aliens, so if you have any familiarity with those, then this is going to look pretty similar, but you do have a little bit, let's start with that jaw. You do have a little bit of opening and closing in that jaw, and then of course the little punchy mouth can come out. And push it back in. And then you have a little bit of left and right, and a little bit of tilt, and then you have the ability to look up, the ability to look down, and then you also have motion in that neck. So that far back in the neck, that far forward. So you can get up like that, and down like that. All right. Now, as far as the shoulders go, you do have these, I guess, almost shoulder pads right here that are going to get in your way as far as the ability to open those arms up to a certain degree. So you can open them up a little bit wider depending on where you are. But because of this, it is going to limit your ability to open. But you do have that opening ability there. You can go all the way around if you choose to do so. You do have the double jointed elbows, so you can get a good deep bend there. And then you have the bicep rotation. And down here at the wrists, you can bring them up that far, bring them down that far, and rotate them around. And then you do have articulation right here at these two fingers, so you can push those fingers up, or you can push those fingers down. And this helps tremendously as far as the posing goes, to either make it in a quadruped mode or a bipedal mode. And then you have your waist abdomen rotation, so you can bring it back that far, and you can squeeze it forward that far depending on how you want to do it, and you could go around quite a bit. You could theoretically take it all the way around, but that just becomes unnatural. All right, and then down here at the hips, similar to the shoulders, you've got all this geometry right here. This is going to get in your way, so you know, if you bring it down like that, you're going to be able to get the legs split open a lot further than if you have them down here. So if you have them in their normal bipedal stance, that's about as wide as you're going to get. But you can pretty much kick forward all the way around, you know, a full 360. So you plenty of range of motion there. You have double jointed knees, so you can get a nice deep knee bend right there. And then you have a little bit of rotation at the thigh, but it's not a lot to speak of. So most of what you're going to do is going to be right here at this rotational joint, just above the knee. So you can do a rotate quite a bit with that. You could go all the way around if you choose to do so. And then down here you have your heel joint. Essentially these are just big long feet like dogs. So you can go forward or up that far. You can go down that far. And then down here at the foot does have the ability where you can tilt it. So you have ankle tilt there, and then you have the ability to bring the foot up that far Yeah, let me put this down. Makes more sense if I do it like that. And then bring it down that far. And then, like I said, you can take that foot around and you can pretty much get in any position that you want, which is really helpful for this figure. So you can get quite a bit of range of motion out of there. And then, of course, the tail. This is just a metal wire inside the tail, so you can pose it anywhere you want. And when you go into bipedal mode, it certainly helps in keeping this guy standing up. So that's it for the details and the articulation on this guy. So what we'll do next is we'll just talk about his accessory and how it goes on and what that looks like. As we noted earlier, the Night Cougar Alien does come with one accessory, and that is, as the box puts it, the kamikaze parasite. Could be a drone, could be a weird looking face hugger. I guess really it could be anything that you want it to be, but it's this guy right here. And it rests right on the alien's back, and there is just a little magnet. You can almost see it there through the translucence. And then it just attaches to the back of the alien as such, like magnetic magic. And it just sits there and really it blends in. You know, it's pretty nondescript until you're ready to take it off and, you know, have it attack somebody, I guess. I can assume that's its method of attack is just, you know, something like that. And then when it's done, kind of like Red Wing for Falcon, right, in the Marvel universe. It's the alien has his own Red Wing. So there you go. This is kind of cool. Enjoy. All right, so what we'll do now is we'll get into those comparisons so you can see how Night Cougar here looks compared to some other figures from some other universes. For our first comparison, here we have the Neca Night Cougar Alien on the left, and on the right we have the Batman from the Batman 2022 movie. And yeah, I think those two look pretty good together as far as scale goes. I think that might be right on. I think Batman could take him in a fight. What do you guys think? You think Batman would win or Night Cougar? I'm putting my money on the Batman. Oh man, this looks good. This almost seems like they ought to make a movie. Maybe call it something like Alien versus Predator or something like that. Man, I bet that would be a good movie. All kidding aside, this is the Neca Night Cougar Alien next to the Neca Lab Escape Fugitive Alien. And really, gosh, these two look really cool beside each other. Yeah, I like this. UGLY, it ain't got no alibi. It's ugly. This is the newborn from Alien 3, and yeah, this thing is just horrendous. It is an absolute abomination, much like it was in the movie. It's so ugly. It's a cool figure, but yeah, I mean, as far as scale goes, you can see how much bigger the newborn was than your typical alien, and the Night Cougar looks really cool standing next to it. So there you go. And for our final comparison, I mean, come on, you knew it had to be a Transformer, right? I wasn't going to do one of these reviews without bringing a Transformer in. So on the left, we have the Neca Night Cougar Alien, and on the right, we have the Studio Series Leader Class Grimlock from the Age of Extinction movie. And I thought he'd be a good fit because, you know, he's kind of a grayish metallic monster, and the Night Cougar Alien's a grayish metallic monster. So that's all the logic that I have for this. So enjoy. So do you guys see any cavities? I don't. I'm not looking any deeper either. That's the end of the comparisons, so let's go ahead and get into those final thoughts. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Neca Night Cougar Alien. This is a cool figure. It's right on par with what you would expect from Neca as far as their alien line goes. I really enjoy the gimmick of the kamikaze parasite, and I really like the fact that they're kind of doing this callback or this homage to the 1990s Kenner toys with some of these new releases. So, I mean, I think for those of us who collect NECA, this is going to be an easy choice. It's definitely going to be one that you're going to want to pick up if you can find it in stores or find it online. So, all that being said, let's go ahead and talk about some of these bullets real quick, starting with the aesthetics, the overall look of this guy. I love the look of this figure. Just the coloration, that gunmetal gray, kind of a dark skin with those red highlights, those silver tips for the toes, and for his venom stinger, whatever you want to call it, at the end of his tail looks really good. The pearlescent head with the translucence, of course, is always a nice touch. The fact that the kamikaze parasite is translucent looks really good, and all the sculpt work and everything on this guy looks good. Absolutely great shelf presence. Everything you would expect from Neca for the aliens. As far as the articulation goes, pretty much the same thing. I mean, this is the articulation that we've come to know and expect from Neca when it comes to the aliens or the xenomorph figures. So you do have that wire in his tail, and you've got, you know, just joints abound on this guy. The biggest complaint that I have as far as articulation goes is just because of the armor on the shoulders and the hips, or that extra geometry on the shoulders and the hips. It does limit your ability to spread those legs out or open those arms up. So you might have a few challenges there, but for the most part, you can get this figure in just about any position you want. That's typical of the aliens life form, if you will. And moving on to accessories, typically you don't really get accessories with aliens, so the fact that we get this little magnetic kamikaze parasite is really cool. I think it's a nice touch. So something worth noting is, because it does blend in so well, it might be kind of easy to lose him, because you might think it's on there and it wouldn't be. And although the magnet is fairly strong, it doesn't take a lot of effort for that to fall off, so it's not a secure lock whatsoever. So just something to be aware of there. Overall quality, no issues with this guy. Paint looks good, joints are tight, came with everything it was supposed to, which was just the kamikaze parasite, and no molding defects to speak of. So yeah, I've got no complaints with this figure. It is typical Neca quality. They do seem to have a good quality control system for the most part. So yeah, no quality issues at all. Overall value, yeah, it's just like everything else in life right now with the state of the world and current conditions. Prices are going up on everything. This is something I found in the wild. I picked it up at a local Walmart for $30 US, $29.96. And yeah, I mean, that's just the price of Neca figures anymore. You know, it's nothing that I can control. So I think as far as that goes with the current state of the world, $30, yeah, it's worth the price of admission on this figure. You know, of course, your opinions may vary on that, value being subjective, but I think $30 US for this figure, I think it's worth it. So that's going to wrap it up for the review. Hopefully you guys were entertained. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you got some good information out of there. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and give me some comments. Let me know what you guys think about this guy. Let me know specifically, those of you out there who know more about aliens than I do, what's up with the lack of breathing tubes on this guy? I mean, what's the mythology behind that? So yeah, with that, it's going to wrap it up. Until we see you guys in the next review, take care.